The American Revolution. Our ongoing question: what does freedom mean for people living in colonized America? This one is about the Stamp Act. Right prior to the Stamp Act, the French and Indian War had just finished, and Great Britain had lost lots of money, and to try to make it up, began to try to tax colonists. And they did this with the Sugar Act. This did not go over very well, though, as a lot of sugar from the Caribbean was used in a lot of different ways by the colonists, and that did not last long. But then in 1765, the British Parliament approved another tax law. This was the Stamp Act. And the Stamp Act put a tax on many paper items in the colonies. Newspapers, legal documents, and even playing cards had to have a special stamp on them to show that the tax had been paid. British leaders felt the tax was fair. Many colonists, however, felt that that it was unfair, and they became very, very angry. They said that Britain could not tax them because they had no representation in Parliament. No one was speaking or acting for them. Then in Virginia, a man by the name of Patrick Henry told other members of the House of Burgesses that Parliament did not represent the colonies. Those who supported Parliament's action shouted, "Treason, treason!" By accusing Henry of treason, they were saying he was guilty of working against his own government, that being Great Britain. In October of 1765, representatives from 9 colonies met in New York City in what became known as the Stamp Act Congress. Their colonial leaders spoke out against the Stamp Act. Soon people began to repeat these words: no taxation without representation. Many colonists tried to force Britain to take back the Stamp Act. Some wrote letters to Parliament, some chose not to buy taxed goods. Others began to boycott or refuse to buy all British goods. Soon after the Stamp Act was passed, a group of colonists called the Sons of Liberty began to work against it. To most colonists, liberty meant the freedom to make their own laws. The Sons of Liberty captured several British workers who tried to collect the tax. They covered these tax collectors with sticky tar and dumped feathers on them. The Sons of Liberty also chased tax collectors out of their towns. Women also took action against the Stamp Act. They formed their own group known as the Daughters of Liberty. Members of the group spun thread and wove their own cloth instead of buying British cloth. The cloth was so popular that the women in Providence, Rhode Island chose a large place in which to make it: the city courthouse. By 1766, so many colonists opposed the Stamp Act that Parliament voted to repeal. Colonists soon spoke about the need for a committee of correspondence in every colony. A committee of correspondence was a group of people in different colonies that would meet to communicate with each other about different ongoing issues. Although at that time, there's no email, there's no text messaging, everything had to go through mail. To send mail from one place to another could take upwards of 16 days to do that. In some of the messages, they talked about what was going on. Members of the Virginia Committee wrote that all colonists should be much disturbed by various rumors and reports of proceedings tending to deprive them of their rights. Committee members then asked other colonies to start their own committees of correspondence, and committee members in each colony wrote letters to each other's cities and towns. They asked people in the other colonies to protest or work against British policies.